So, and the first presenter will be Victor Hugo Argüelles from Mexico, our dear friend, our representative, and I'm sure his presentation will be very, very interesting. Okay, yes, you're very welcome.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Dr. Kortkov. Well, Victor, do you want to present yourself for like 1 minute? You can turn on your sound if you want to say like just one sentence, and we will start your presentation. You have to turn on the sound. I know it's very late night at your place.
Thank you very much, Dimitri. Thank you, Dr. Kortkov. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I'm very happy to this day. And I am Victor from Mexico. And I am International Relations degree. I am director of OLOS 888. And also I am distributor of BioWell in Mexico.
Okay, thank you very much, Hugo. And as I know, your work was done together with Ruiz Benjamin, who is also present here. So we will watch your work in conjunction, what you have done. And let's see what you have done. And let's watch at your interesting results about water.
Yes, it was done with Benjamin Ruiz, and he is an engineer who is also a researcher, and he helped me to do all the statistical and the experiments and the framework, the theoretical framework.
Thank you very much. Let's watch it.
Hi, good morning. I am Víctor Argüelles from Mexico. We did a research with Benjamin Ruiz to do the analysis of the Ionizer Tube to get structured water for crops irrigation approach with the use of BioWell. The empirical evidence shows that when the farmer uses water improved by the Chapingo University device, the Hobartin, the product has a higher growth than the product with untreated water. The intention of the present pilot study is to know if the improvement of the water can be validated through the BioWell variables. How we decided to perform this study? First, because the owner of the Ionizer Tube has agreed pictures where he shows the image evidence, where the product has a higher growth than the product with untreated water. It is important to mention that in Mexico we have the Chapingo Autonomous University, and his mission is to train professionals and develop scientific and technological research directed at the production of agricultural food. In this context, the development of a frequency emitting device, Hobartin, was carried out to improve the quality of water for agricultural use. The results during the last 10 years have been very satisfactory. Experiment 2, evaluation of yield of tomatoes, irrigation with water treated with ionizer frequencies versus irrigation with normal water. The results in the experiment was not concluded due to the presence of snowfall. However, interesting results were observed. 100% of the plants watered with normal water did not resist snowfall, whereas plants watered with water treated with ionizing frequencies did not suffer any damage. We can see in the picture how is damaged the plants, and it's very clear the difference between two. Now I'm going to introduce you my friend Benjamin Ruiz. He will explain the theoretical framework of this study with the BioWell sensor and the camera.
Thanks everyone for joining with us on this online congress. I am Benjamin Ruiz, and I will present the theoretical framework. And the first question that we made when we prepared this study the question was why we select the method to get some samples associated to the water at 4 degrees. The answer was because the theory that Gerald Pollack mentioned in his book, The Fourth Phase of the Water, is in this temperature is when the bulk water make the transition from the liquid to solid state, and discovered the exclusion zone because this precedes to the ice state. For this reason, we decided to measure the water at 4 degrees in order to compare the results with the rest of the methods that we performed in this study. Another important method to analyze is the vortex, and it's based in the observation that Víctor Schorberger studied in the natural behavior of the water in the rivers. And he mentioned that this water is more alive. In another hand, Rudolf Steiner performed some experiments based in the vortex method and irrigate the crops with this kind of water, and he discovered that the fruit grow more than the crops irrigated with the bulk water. And in these days, some farmers continue using this method, the vortex water, in order to irrigate the crops. Regarding the entropy, for us is the most important variable on this study because it represents the order or disorder at molecular level. And Pollack mentioned that it's a natural behavior of the forces in the nature. Important to mention that the entropy in the BioWell device represents the trend of the entropy, not is a punctual measurement. And on this study, it's important to analyze the deviation of the area 2, that represents the variation of the measurement that we take every 5 seconds. Important reference for us was the influence of drinking structured water of the human psychophysiology that was performed by Dr. Korkov. And he shows that if the human drink a water structure, the benefits is the reduce the stress, a significant decrease in the creatinine levels, and this benefit is for the human. And we ask on our study what happened because we have an empirical results with this Ionizer Tube. For this reason, we refer this important article for us. With the previous information that we show in the framework theoretical, the next step was to establish the objective and the research questions. And for us is to establish if there is a degree of the water structuring through the water measurement using the BioWell device. And the question is, does the BioWell variables describe the level of structuring of the water? On these steps regarding of the materials and methods, we select the computer, BioWell device, water sensor, and the proper variables that the software offers to us. The first, regarding of the samples, we take 4 liters of the bulk water in a jar and generate the 4 samples with 500 millimeters for control water, ionizer water, vortex and magnetic water, and water at 4 degrees. And the time for each influence method was 30 minutes. And obviously, the measurement performed was 30 minutes too. On this table, you can see the design of the control of the measurements in order to labeling in the BioWell software. In the row, the methods, and in the columns, the samples. When we finish the measurements, we export the data to the CSV files in order to process all the data inside of the Excel tool. On this slide, I would like to show you a pedagogical license in order to show you what happens if in the water. Imagine that we have a classroom with the kids and they are playing and moving and playing inside of the classroom. If we have the opportunity to take a measurement, we will discover the high area deviation and high entropy. This is equal a disorder. But if we put in front the teacher who induced the order, we will have the order kids and at the end, we have a low area deviation and a negative entropy. This means that we will have an order. After we performed all the experiments, we put together all the results on this table. And you can see in the first column the variable, and the second, you can see the data regarding to the confidence interval at 95% for all the experiments. We calculate the lower interval, upper interval, and the difference if this interval decrease or increase for all the measurements that we take. It's most interesting to see the results in graphs than the table, and we can show you in graphs in the next slides. On this slide, you can see the area, and when we compare what happened with the ionizer water, you can see that this decrease, the area decrease, in 31%. But in the vortex and magnetic water, increase in 80%. I suppose that the vortex and magnetic influence in the movement of electrons and photons. For this reason, we have this increase when we compare it with the contour water. Regarding of the water at the 4 degrees, the area decreased in 60%. Regarding of this graph associated to the intensity, you can see that the behavior of the graph is very close to the previous slide, the area. In this case, the ionizer water decreased in 40%, and the vortex and magnetic water increased in 90%. This means that we discovered that we have some correlation between intensity and area, and it's interesting for us. Okay, regarding of the energy, the variable energy, we can discover that the graph follows the same trend that we have in area and intensity. And you can see the ionizer water decrease again, and the vortex magnetic increase. This means for us is a correlation between the area, intensity, and energy, but is an interesting result for us. One of the most important variables for us in order to discover if something happened in the water was the area deviation. And you can see when we compare the interval between the contour water and the ionizer water, this decreased in 33%. And associated to the vortex and magnetic water, this decreased in 45%. This means that the vortex and magnetic water influence more in the contour water. The sad results was for the 4 degrees water, because the interval increased. But this is associated because we use the fridge in order to get the water at 4 degrees. And we don't control the exact level of the temperature of the water. For this reason, this variation is high. Our suggest is in the future measurement to get the water at 4 degrees with this stabilization. The most important variable for us was the entropy, because this shows the change of behavior of the water after we apply the influence for different methods. The first, you can see the entropy regarding to the ionizer water decreased in 61%. This means that the molecular of the water trends to the order. And regarding of the vortex and magnetic water decreased in 55%, and the water at 4 degrees decreased too in 32%. This is interesting because if you remember the pedagogical lesson that we show regarding of the kids, apparently the methods that we apply in order to influence the water affect the water in order to get the order. The results, let me mention some points about of this. The first is the bulk water maintain the most high area deviation, and the entropy trends go to positive entropy. And this is according to the theory. If we have a positive entropy, we have a disorder. If we have a negative entropy, we have an order. The second is that the water at 4 degrees is more variable than we expected according to the theory. And the conclusion is that the method to get 4 degrees and maintain it stable was not possible. I am sorry, because we used the fridge. And for the new measurement that we will perform in the future, we have to use a more stable device in order to maintain the stability at 4 centigrade degrees. Another result was the vortex and magnetic method has the best low area deviation in the confidence interval at represent the 41% than the water control. And the Ionizer Tube represent less than 33%. This means that the both methods generate an order in the water control. In terms of the entropy, the vortex magnetic and Ionizer Tube is more stable and trend is negative than the control water. This means that the both methods affect the bulk water. For us, the conclusion with the limitation of the study is that we can infer that the area deviation and entropy variable could be described the quality of the optimization of the water and give the answer of the effects in the plant's growth in the empirical results that we show in the first slides. Our conclusion after we analyze the data with the limitation of the study is that we can infer that the area deviation and entropy variables could be described the quantity of the optimization of the water and give the answer of the effects in the plant's growth in the empirical results. From my side, I really appreciate your attention and your time. And now I pass the word to Víctor because he performed some extra measurement that the result was very interesting, and one invitation to the BioWell users. Thanks a lot.
Water, one of the 4 elements, a mystery to discover in the future. Some Kabbalistic teachings say the water filled all the reality and the existence before the creation. The water is a physical expression, a force energy of mercy, and the life force of creation. We can know that the water is an essence of the life, is an expression of something superior creation. The water is something that helps us to enjoy this life. Then the water is a very important element that we have to know. We have to research, we have to go deep into the secrets of the water. Well, in this open conclusion, we can say that the Hobarting devices is sending information that is recorded in the water, and also is structuring the water, and this water gives more lifespan, more vitality, and more force, more energy to the plants, and also this water could help to the human well-being. Well, in conclusion, we can say that the water is a very deep topic because the water has been here since the beginning of the creation, and before the creation. We also are united by the water. We are all connected, all the human beings are connected through the water that is inside of his body. The water has been the same, always have a cycle, the water of the cycle of the water. And this water has been in all the human beings, in all their times of the history, has been the same water, and the water has the memory of the humanity. Then we can share these feelings through our waters that are inside, and if we can grow our energy, if we can level the energy of our hearts, and we can send this energy to our water inside of our bodies, we are sending this energy to all the water in the planet. Thank you.
Okay, Víctor, do you want to add something? You have some time left in your for your presentation. You should turn on your sound, please. We can hear you now.
Yes, I want to show some more research that have talking about the water here in Mexico. I can share the presentation. Well, I was doing some more investigation, some more research about the water, and I discovered that the water was in the first time of the creation. And as say in the Torah, it says that in the beginning of God's creation of the heavens and the earth, now the earth was astonishingly empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the water. Then I want to make this point of that the water was one of the first elements of all the creation. And also this antique book say that let there be an expanse in the midst of the water, and let it be a separation between water and water. Well, God made the expanse, and it separates between the water that was below the expanse and the water that was above the expanse, and it was so. Then I did a correlation with the Big Bang theory. We can read about this theory that we can see that Big Bang was an expanding universe, and is the same expanse that is in this antique book, that I think that the water is one of the elements that the creation used to expand in all the universe. We have know that the space in the universe has hydrogen gas, that is one of the elements of the water, and also the water in our planet, that is like the macro universe and the micro universe. Also in this Big Bang theory, I said in the NASA webpage that in this diagram reveals change in the rate of expansion since the universe birth 15 billion years ago. The more shallow the curve, the faster the rate of expansion. The curve changed noticeably about 7.5 billion years ago, when objects in the universe began flying apart at a faster rate. Astronomers theorize that the faster expansion rate is due to a mysterious dark force that is pushing galaxies apart. Well, there exists a lot of theories about the beginning of the universe, but it's very interesting that it says that the water has before the creation and is in the expanse of the universe. Then it's something that we only can't theorize, we can demonstrate this point, but I really like to think about it and how this whole expansion of the universe have to be was said thousands of years before, that was an expansion, and now the scientists are saying the same, that the universe is expanding. And then how is this affecting us? How we can use this information to have a better life? Well, it's trying to understand how the body is working, how the universe is working, and how is our relationship between the water and the human beings? How is the relationship between the universe and the water and the humans? And all this connection about these elements of the hydrogen that is in the universe, in the gas, in the universe, the atoms of hydrogen in our bodies. And also I want to tell about these two scientists, Mexican scientists. One is Dr. Moncayo. He's a person has very interesting research about the water. He says that one droplet of water has the space to save more than 2 billions of terabytes in the hydrogen atom. Well, he did all these measurements with the quantum theory and with the Avogadro's numbers and also Bohr. And he explained this in another article, but it's very interesting to know that the water in the electrons, in the levels, in the structure of the electrons of the hydrogen, we can put some information. And also this say that when the hydrogen, the electron of hydrogen is in the atom, could be there or could not be there, is the quantum existence, that what they say in the Schrödinger, the cats of Schrödinger. He say that our body is a 100 biological computers because of the existence of binary information in the hydrogen electron. All the diseases in humans have an origin in the altered position in the electron of hydrogen atom. Well, if this information that is in our bodies is a information that is not in this friendly, in this harmonious, in this healthy information for our water, then we have all this disease that we are know in all the history of the humanity. Also exists another scientist, the Doctora Esther del Rio Serrano, in the 70s postulates, we are a ponderable quantum biocomputer. This statement is due to secondary discovery. The water in our bodies work as memory units through a computer network formed by magnetic iron, and liquid crystal water. Well, these both scientists are telling the same thing, that all our body has memories. And how these memories work, we know that we have the memory in our brains, but the brain is only the receptor of the information, but all the information is inside of our bodies. And these theories of this research, these scientists, is very interesting that we can change this information. And how we can change this information, but that is why we are researching all these devices, like Hobartin device that is structuring water, it is giving information to the water, and it is giving this structure to have a more healthy body and to have more resistance. If we have good information in our water, as said the Dr. Esther del Rio, that when the water gets inside our body, the water changes the atoms, the structure of the water. It's a different water. It's a water that is function like a crystal that we can put information there and also share all this information to all our bodies. Well, this is a very a good point to know that we can do more research about these theories, and we have this device like BioWave, like sensor water, where we can prove what if we change our thoughts, if we put information, new informations in our bodies, we will be more happy, more healthy, and more with more joy in our lives. Well, we do this as conclusions that and we are giving. We invite you to collaborate in this study. If one of the persons that are assisting to this Congress want to help us to do these experiments, we can send the device, the Hobartin, that to continue doing more research. This is only an open conclusion. We are not telling that this is a closed Okay. Well, I see some questions.
Okay, Víctor, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thanks for add on after that. We were recording all the questions to you. They will be saved, and if you will be able to connect with us your early morning, our evening, you will have the opportunity to answer those questions. They are all recorded in our Zoom room, and so you will have access to them. So
Okay.
you can see that some people already got interested in your research and want to collaborate.
Okay, and I would like to add a couple of words to this.
Okay, let me. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Victor. This research was very interesting, and thank you for doing this, because you know that water is a big part of our research projects. And with water sensor, you can do a lot. Now we are developing, and I hope that soon it will be in production, our new device, BioWell element, that would allow you to study water with much more possibilities. And of course, I suggest you to have your paper prepared and published. Now there are several journals that can accept this type of papers, and I can help you in doing this. So that would be very, very good for all of us. And of course, we need to remember that water is the key element, not only for life, but for the universe. It's the second most abundant element in the universe after hydrogen. And we have different theories of water formation, but I like most the theory that water was formed inside the planets. That is why we can find water in solid form or liquid form on practically all the planets. So that is why water is unlimited source of research. I'm absolutely sure that practical applications of structured water is only in the first stage, and any type of research in this field is very important. And of course, when you use BioWell together with measuring other parameters of water, like pH, like surface tension, like negative potential, then it gives you a lot of information, and this information is very valuable for all people who are interested in developing this new approach. Okay, thank you again, and let's move forward.